the head of the dojo, which is over there. Okay. In my dojo, we used to have a kamidana, which is called a god shelf. Not because I believe in the gods, but I'm going to talk about the Christian samurai today, which were an important part of Japanese history. The kamidana that I had inside a small Bible, and anything that one of the black belts, when they achieved black belts, felt was holy to him or her. Okay, so it could be a cross, it could be a religious figure. They had to be Christian. I'm sorry, and those were the rules of my dojo, and we would bow to the kamidana. We don't have a kamidana, but let's just momentarily bow to the Almighty, which guides our paths and guides our, hopefully, our words and actions. So they. Okay. First thing we're going to do is absolutely nothing. What do you mean, Sensei? Yes. I want you to stay where you are and take 2 deep breaths from the abdomen, or the hara. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And then empty your mind. But it's Anjing, which is like awareness. And we're not doing something spiritual, otherworldly, or whatever. We're becoming what the Marines would call situational awareness. Julio Anta can understand that. Okay? Situational awareness. I want you with your eyes no more than half closed. Okay, it's palms on your muslos, as this gentleman has. After 2 deep breaths, I want you to just listen and be aware of everything around you. The hum of the air conditioner. Feel a word or 2 or 3. What is or what was a samurai? No one watches TV here?
A warrior. Educated one.
Thank you for that. I'm glad you added that. I'm glad you added that, because that was the higher class. You're getting special outcomes. That was the educated class. Okay, there were the samurai, and there were other people in battle, but they were not samurai. They were just soldiers. You know, they may be given a pike. That's it. So you get a pike, maybe a helmet. But the samurai was the educated warrior, and he could just as easily lop your head off with his katana as write a haiku. Okay, and then go to the tea ceremony and just take a deep breath, and that was it. But they were educated people. Above that, and this is the one that you can research it and you will see it's true. The samurai also means one who serves. One who serves. In this case, he who the samurai serves would be the ruler, the military ruler. That would be the shogun. But the Christian samurai would say, yes, I have to obey the laws of the shogun, but above that, I know that there are other laws that I must follow, and sometimes they may be in conflict with what the shogun says. Okay? You know what laws those were? No idea? The key idea was Christian samurai. Christian samurai. Christian samurai gave it. Go, run with it. The Christian samurai would say, yes, the shogun, yes, but on occasion, I've got to be careful because there's another. Which one is yours? That one?
That's 2 in the back.
That's 2 in the back? Who? Yeah, Christ Jesus, our Lord and Savior. Right. And some of those samurai paid with their lives. Some of them paid with their lives. Sometimes in very horrible deaths. So I encourage you, since you are in a warrior school, because I know Sifu for many, many years, like you said, it's got to be 30 or plus years. We both had black hair back then. I don't know what happened. I don't know. A lot of things happened. And you are in this warriorship ambiance, but also I challenge you, if you are a Christian, be Christian samurai, Christian warriors. Be educated, go to school, learn as much as you possibly can about history, about math, about science, about everything, and about your martial arts with Sifu, who is an excellent teacher. Okay, I'm not just saying that because he's my friend. He is an excellent teacher. I've worked with him for many, many years. But also, remember who your ultimate shogun is, your ultimate ruler is, our ultimate ruler. Okay. That's the Christian samurai, and that's the code of the Christian samurai. The code of the Christian samurai is, and you can look up Bushido, which is very beautiful, but also with Christ as my ultimate ruler, my ultimate king. Okay. So, let's talk about, and this one question, before we get into the techniques. We're going to get into techniques. You're going to find them very interesting, maybe even very beautiful. But let's talk about the perspective of Japanese culture. And this question is only for the adults. The kids probably won't know. If they do, I will be very impressed. And then you get a special bow if the kids do. We'll talk about Japanese culture from the perspective of December 7, 1941, at about 7 something in the morning. Everybody's waking up and stretching. December 7, 1941. Anybody know? Adults. Who said that? Oh, excellent. Pearl Harbor, December 7, 1941. Okay, the U.S. fleet is in Oahu, and they're relaxing. Well, they're not relaxing. Some of them, if they had the first watch, they're in their first watch, or they're scrubbing decks or whatever. But mostly everybody's asleep. 90% of everyone's asleep. It's a Sunday morning. Come on. Okay, it's peacetime. They usually give us a break. We don't do very much. I want to shave and whatever, go on shore leave, and then flirt with the Hawaiian girls, and that's what they have in their mind. And actually, they spot the Japanese coming in, and somebody says, "Oh wow, look at that! The Air Force is on maneuvers." It wasn't the Air Force. They went for a rude awakening. But what happens after that, and this is where I tied into American culture and the martial arts. What happens after that is that 99.999% of the United States on that day and for years after said the Japanese are sneaky and the Japanese fight dirty and the Japanese this and that. It is a clash of civilizations and a clash of cultures. So what I'm going to tell you now is that, God forbid, if you find yourself in a situation where you can't walk away, okay, give them Pearl Harbor. Okay, give them Pearl Harbor to the very last minute, and watch that distance, that safety that I know Sifu has talked about. No, I don't want to. I don't want to fight. I don't want a problem. But when you see that you can't avoid that conflict, explode into Pearl Harbor and give them everything. It was really bad for the American fleet in Pearl Harbor. Really, really bad. I forget how much it was. Something like 3,000 or 4,000 men, and massive battleships went down and everything. And the Americans were just aghast. Like, how could they do this? What happened was, the Japanese said, okay, we're going to be in this fight. We're going to be in this fight. And they gave it 101%, the Japanese. Later, there's another thing that I want you to keep in the back of your mind. The Japanese did that. But there's also the unintended consequences of getting into a fight. Okay, you may be right. Okay. You may be absolutely right. He was picking on you. Or they were picking on you. And you couldn't escape. You were in that corner. And there was no way for you to escape. And then, what they didn't know is that you wiped the floor with them. You know what they're going to say? I was on my way to Bible study, and this guy picked on me, and this guy, he's a martial artist, and he just abused me. You think he's going to say, yeah, I was wrong, we were picking on him? Not going to happen. So there's the unintended consequences in our modern society of getting into a fight. Comes from, Judo comes from Japanese Jujitsu. Okay, in the late 1800s, Dr. Jigoro Kano looked at Japanese Jujitsu, took a bunch of techniques called katas, and he said, we really don't need that one. That one is only moderately effective. This one is good. We keep this, we keep that, and that became Judo. Okay. That was in the 1800s. Judo today has become, although it is, don't misunderstand, it's very deadly, it's become basically a sport. Okay. I don't teach a sport. I teach you how to defend yourself. Okay. And if you're in that situation where maybe 5 or 6 guys trying to beat you up, if you can't get away, I know as a modern day Christian samurai with lower letters samurai, I'm not of noble blood or anything, I know that I'm going to get hurt, but by God, I'm going to make one guy at least one guy really, really, really sorry that they ganged up on me. At least one guy. Because, all right, but Jiu-Jitsu let's put it this way. It is focused on redirecting. Why? Uki. Because if Uki here is full of armor, imagine him being full of armor. What good is it going to do if I punch him? Nothing, you're right. So it has to be redirection. It has to be redirection. So if Uki, let's suppose you have an imaginary sword. And let's suppose that Uki, I dropped my sword, I fell off my horse or whatever, okay, and Uki is about to hit me with a sword. The only way that I can do anything to him is by redirecting. Okay, so as he's stepping forward, this has to be split second, obviously, otherwise there's going to be two of me instead of one. Okay? Yeah. As he is coming forward to come down with a sword, I've got to get the heck out of the way. And don't break the wood, please. Okay, you're a very good Uki, by the way. You're an excellent Uki. You're an excellent Uki. Okay? And he was moderate. He was moderate. But he felt which way he was going, and he went with the flow, because otherwise it goes. As soon as you see it go up, you can't wait for it to come down. When it's coming down, it's only a split second. As soon as you see it go up, let's start from the down. As soon as you see it go up, okay, boom, I'm starting to control here. Coming here, or coming here, whichever you prefer. I prefer to hold on to the weapon. Okay? You can also do this. Already here, he's off balance. Just a little more, he's gonna fall. You follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. Okay. Let's get really Japanesey today. Today is Hi Sensei.
Hi, Sensei.
Hi Sensei. Hi Sensei. Okay? Softly now, I don't want anybody to get hurt. Somebody gets hurt, Sifu is going to be angry. You can also do this. You can also do this as you're coming here. Pretend that you're doing this. Okay? Pretend you're doing that. Notice that this is part of this. This is part of this. Okay? Or you can do here. Or you can do here. Okay? Here's another possibility. I don't know if I'm giving you too much information. Here's another possibility. You can go here. No, let's just keep it simple. I think this is what I did originally, right? He's already letting go. And then, since he's got a sword, I need to take the sword away. All right? All right. Okay, when you're over here more, he's feeling he's off balance. Don't you feel off balance? Yeah, okay, boom. Now, take this leg. Put this leg to the side. Okay, now keep the motion going. Just ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. Keep your hands on that. Keep your hands on it. All right, you know what? You seem like a right man. Okay, now I want you to take here, and then he goes down, and then I go all the way around. I go all the way. You feel like letting go? You don't feel like letting go. Oh, I think this is one of those hard-headed people that, okay, or she can possibly be. The samurai, although they were by our standards pagans, okay, they had some Buddhist teachings. Let me backpedal a little bit and make sure that you understand that Buddhism is not Christianity, and Christianity is not Buddhism. But there are some little overlaps. It's not like this, it's like this. Little overlap. You can explain that to your children later. Little overlap, some very small similarities. One of those similarities is ahimsa. Ahimsa is the principle of not doing intentional harm to any sentient creature. Okay? So if I can, like I was discussing with the ladies especially, if I can just take him down and he hits his head on concrete and he's like this and I can run and get away, that's fine. That's fine. It did the job and I'm safe and I ran away. Okay? If he is a big hefty guy and taking him down is going to hurt him, but he's going to get right back up and chase me, then it's between you and the Lord. You've got to decide maybe you want to do something else to save your life. Because ultimately, I want to save my life. And in every major religion of the world, every single major religion, there is nothing wrong with protecting yourself and your family. There's nothing wrong at all. And it would be, in my humble opinion, and that of theologians that know much more than I do, it would be a terrible sin if you did nothing and your family misses you and your children miss you or your parents miss you for the rest of their lives and you did nothing. So I will protect myself. Okay, so the samurai is ethical, it says. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for example, focuses on ground techniques. The Sifu does, I saw you doing ground techniques. I'm not gonna do any ground techniques. My purpose today is to add to what you've done already, not just repeat the same thing. Oh, we did that last week, and we did that just yesterday. So it's a paradigm shift. Okay, so we got redirection, and all of this idea about redirection and the soft overcoming the hard comes from an ancient Chinese text. The Japanese may not like it, because they're, the Japanese and the Chinese are kind of like this. It's an ancient Chinese text called the Tao Te Ching. Okay, the Tao Te Ching. It's pronounced Tao Te Ching. It's in the Western tradition. Often they spell it Tao, T-A-O, Te, T-E, Ching, C-H-I-N-G. Pronounced Tao Te Ching. And you know how it's written? It's written like this. That was a joke, by the way. In Chinese characters, it's written. You don't have to moan when I make these jokes, okay? Thank you for not moaning, actually. Yeah. So anyway, and the Tao Te Ching is all about the soft overcoming the hard. That's what I want you to remember from it. If you want the young group, with your parents, if you want to read parts of the Tao Te Ching, you can read those with your parents. By the way, I put some pretty verses here about the Tao Te Ching, which remind me about my dear friend Julio, Sifu Anta, because he became a Sifu, he became a master. And it talks a lot about the master doing this with the students, or the master not doing that. And Sifu, you'll read them, and they are basically me thinking about you. Right? But the Tao and Jiu-Jitsu and many of the Japanese martial arts are about redirecting. And you had some examples of redirection now, and you saw how effective they were. Okay. Let me give you another example of redirection. Okay. All right, simple one. Wrist grab. Okay. In this case, Suki, I want you to make it sort of on the hard side. Okay. Well, he's got a good grip, but it doesn't matter. Now watch. And here we're going to go back into the idea of energy and ki and so forth. Okay? This is hard, but it will be soft. As I go here, it will be soft. Again. Once again. Now I can do whatever I want with you. As a matter of fact, my philosophy is you gave me a present. Okay, ethically, you wanted to hurt me. Ethically, I can defend myself. Ethically, he's a strong guy, he really is. So I'm going to defend myself in a way that I can redirect, and the soft overcomes the hard. This is soft, and you feel it already. I don't want to hurt you. This is soft, this is soft, this is soft. If he was even a more powerful guy, okay, if he was a Sifu, for example, okay, Sifu's got he's got arms like my thighs, okay? Then I would go and I'm gonna let my wrists, when you do this, I want you to let your wrists rotate. Okay, your hands rotate over his wrists, because if they don't, if you keep now a hard grip on this, lots of things are gonna start to break or tear. So, and he will feel what it would be like. See, he will feel what it would be like. You feel it already, right? And he's tapping. That's a good thing. That's a symbol of let go. See, I would go, okay? And notice where I wound up. He was actually over there a moment ago. This is where I would wind up, okay? And he would wind up over there, dislocated. All kinds of things were dislocated. Boom, boom. Things have messed up over here. Okay? And here I can do as I please. Back to the ethical, back to the ahimsa. Okay, can I get away? I probably can. Or he's hurting already. People with one arm that's functioning usually don't want to fight anymore. Okay, unless they're crazy, unless they're on drugs. Okay, and then they don't feel anything. Okay, all right. So I'll let you do it one time. Can you do it for me? Okay. Okay?
So you want from here?
Yes. And I'm trying to hold on to him, and I can't hold on.
And then
Again. See, rotate your wrist. Yeah, you're an excellent hoop. Okay, around the waist, I see, and my hands. Okay. Oh my goodness! Now I can't do anything. Somebody tell me. Come up and point to the weakest finger. The weakest finger's here anywhere. Anybody, quick! The thumb. Okay, boom. You're gonna knock us both down. They're right, the thumb. But you know what? The thumb is only weak in a certain way, because actually, I'll make it weak, but the thumb is pretty strong. You do a lot of things with your thumb. People that have accidents and they miss their thumb, they're in bad shape. You know what's gonna make this thumb weak? Not me pulling it like this. Resist with the thumb. Now, hold on. It's really hard. Okay? But look at what I'm going to do. Come close, everybody. This thumb is going to become, ladies, this thumb is going to become like butter. Okay? Watch here. Watch. He feels it already. All right? He doesn't want me to go there, and I don't blame him either. It is a feeling like you can't believe. But it is the yuckiest feeling. It is the yuckiest feeling.
Never thought of that one.
Yes.
I can't see.
Well, the Japanese do, because the soft overcomes the hard. Okay.
Oh, no.
Aquí está. No te voy a enseñar así. Aquí está.
No.
Oh, yes. You want to die?
No.
Then this is better than, so this is it. So what I'm going to do is, let's say that my fingernail is still there, and then it got soft. Remember, it got soft. See, I'll make it soft. And then suaviza, porque si no te lo voy a suavizar. So then once he's going because my fingernail is way the hell in there, I don't want to just put my fingernail in there. I want to rip the son of a gun off. Okay? Then I go like this. Since you gave me this gift, y él está dolorido, you don't have to be, a super genius, a quadruple PhD to figure out that I've got everything I want to do with this. It's available. Okay, gentlemen. All right, so I can do all kinds of things here. Yeah, I can let go of that thumb, but I've got this gift over here, and I can do all kinds of things with this gift. I can keep on, again, it's the pivoting, it's going around. I can go like this, or I can go under, again, this way, under. Okay, I can do all sorts of things. Exactly, boom. And on the way to doing these things, I can break again. I can hit here, etc. All right, careful, I don't want anybody's thumbnail missing. All right. Is the drawing and the putting away of the sword. It is totally, absolutely, 101% different from all the nonsense that you see on TV, where they take the sword out and they whip it around 15 different ways, and they do a cartwheel in the air, and they're still doing the sword. It is not. Iaido is all about concentration and about perfection and about, as we were doing with our hands and so forth, the maximum efficiency possible with the smallest number of movements. Again, maximum efficiency, smallest number of movements. So, I'm not used to this sword. I was just telling the ladies, doesn't matter. Didn't bring a sword. Okay, but it is a good sword anyway. All right, so we start like this. Boom. Number one. Zanshin, aware of everything that's around me, using my peripheral vision. And you do like this, and you can tell pretty much, even like here, I can see movement. So aware of all my surroundings. Okay, that's called peripheral vision. Okay. Problem. I hold a tsuba. Okay, because the Japanese sword does not have a system of keeping it inside. In an authentic Japanese sword, if you do this, it will pop out very embarrassingly. Okay, you don't want that to happen. So I see a problem. I step forward in readiness for the problem. Notice that I have less front immediately for the attacker. Okay, 1 foot forward this way, 1 foot to the side. Thumb on the tsuba. problem continues. Okay, I withdraw the sword. How do I withdraw the sword? Here, and again, this is not the real deal, but it's good. You would push it out ever so slightly, like this. This was very tight. Pushing it out, and as I push it out, I grab the sword. Seeing my opponent, so my opponent is Sifu. Okay. As I remove the sword, the scabbard, suba, goes sideways. Keep in mind, maximum efficiency with minimum movement. Very good. Sword comes out horizontally. My body is straight. It comes out all the way across. If there was an attacker going forward, look at the size of my safety area. Okay? You're cut in half, or you're really, really wounded. Once that happens, it goes over. Maybe there was an attack, and I have to clean the sword. How do I clean the sword? Not on my sleeve. The sword is cleaned. The attack is over. I rest the sword. There is no hurry. What if there's another attack? What if somebody bursts in through one of those paper walls? Lots of things could happen. What if he is mortally wounded, but he gets up again? Nothing is happening. Boom. I guide. Remember, this is razor sharp. So I guide. You see how I guided? Take my finger away. I guide. Go in. Here. Back again to hold it. Right. Go to a second. Slightly different. In this one, let me use a female uki for one time. You. Over here. Okay. My opponent is not armed, but my opponent is going to grab my sword to take it away from me. Okay? So I am here. He grabs my sword. Think of my sword as an extension of my jujitsu. Now watch what happens. Here. Here. Unfortunately for this peasant, se pasó de la roca. You know what's going to happen as I step back, right? Boom. One less peasant. We'll just put her head on a pike somewhere. So the other peasants can know, you don't do that. So, okay. Uno más, and we go for 35 plus over. Uno más, y entonces we'll do the raffle. Person is up close, and they have, let's say they have not a sword, or maybe they have a sword, or they have a knife, and then you see bent elbow. It's always bent elbow, like I was talking before. Okay, but I am momentarily distracted. I'm momentarily distracted, and they're quite close. It's not like the initial one that we did. Quite close. So what do? They're here. They're quite close. Over here, we already have a cutting area. So this goes up. I step back to give myself more space. Bam, and you can see the next one is going to be either horizontal. Boom, something is going to plop on the ground, their head, or it's going to be diagonal. Okay, from the shoulder on down. Once again, I'm done. Clean the sword. Slowly, comes back. Boom. Hold on, thank you. You guys have been great.